have seen the future of horror. His name is Clive Barker. Hellraiser. Beyond any terror you have imagined. A nightmare.
No.
Unlike anything you have witnessed, is born. Because within these walls, the unholy is unleashed. Hellraiser, a film by Clive Barker.
We'll tear your soul apart.
Oh, we have such sights to show you. Oh, pleasure. Pleasure. Oh. Okay. So this is our first week of Halloween HUMPFEST.
Yes.
You seek the deepest, darkest pleasures in this movie we're discussing, Hellraiser by Clive Barker, based on the Hellhound Heart, also written by Clive Barker, starring Andrew Robinson, Clare Higgins, Ashley Laurence, Doug Bradley. Clare Higgins was peak 80s hot. I feel like that was a very specific 80s hot.
We love Hellraiser.
We love raising a little hell. That's
Hellbound Heart is literally in my nightstand.
passion, romance.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched this a few years ago. It was your first time seeing it, and you
It was.
were a little obsessed with it.
Yeah.
We also watched the sequel, Hellbound, Hellraiser 2, but I don't remember it. But nothing's as good as the first one.
The second one is a true sequel to this, and then from what I
Written
understand,
by Clive as well, but after that.
it's based on his story, but he didn't even write the screenplay for the second movie or direct it, but it is more of a sequel, and I guess from my understanding, it kind of goes off the rails after that.
Yeah, like, it tanks real hard from what I've heard.
I did enjoy the new Hellraiser, and Clive Barker is involved in that, but he had kind of gotten pushed out of that franchise completely, or he at some point stopped condoning it or whatever.
Well, making the first one, apparently a lot of shit got cut because it was a lot more raw sexuality, a lot of harder sex scenes, maybe even more gross stuff. When you sit through this movie, it's like, Jesus Christ, what did they cut out?
Did she fuck that bloody man?
But producers, yeah, that would have been great.
Is there a director's cut?
I think so.
We
but
need to
like
get a
one
hold
where,
of that.
Yeah, but we're watching the one, the most common one. But this movie is pretty controversial. And while I won't say this is a perfect movie,
no,
there is just something about this movie that really affects us. Like, no, it's not a perfect movie, but but it's kind of amazing at the same time with the effects and what they do with it and how like disgusting it is. And I think what's so successful about the first Hellraiser movie is that, the franchise focuses, I guess, on these Cenobites, right? Mm-hmm. And they remade this, I think it was just last year they remade it, right?
Yeah, in the last few years.
And it was okay.
I thought it was fun.
I mean, better than I heard a lot of the sequels are, but there's something about this first one in the aspect of horror romance.
Yes.
You just don't see that a lot or executed to this level.
Right.
In this specific way. Because I forget her name, Clare Higgins, she really does love Frank.
Julia.
Yeah, she really does love Frank.
Okay.
This is a movie
I think
about
she loves him, but she's obsessed with him, I would say, more than in love, because they don't get to know each other.
Yeah.
It is like a pure, raw animal attraction that cannot be denied.
And Frank, he kind of talks like he's doing voice work for an anime. It just sounds very blatant.
Can I come in? You're Julia, right?
That's right. Who are you?
I'm Frank.
Well, and Frank's whole deal is that he's tried everything, right? Like, at one point she finds these, like, pictures of him in all kinds of different, like, bondage scenarios with women and all these, you know, different
She's
scenes.
ripping a lady's face out of one before you know for sure that before you find out she's really, like, into Frank.
Yeah, because she's married to
Her
Frank's
brother. Yeah.
Not her brother.
Oh, his brother. Yeah.
The movie got weirder. Yeah, she's married to Frank's brother. He has a daughter who is like college age. Her mother died when she was a kid.
Sure. There's you've got to have at least one dead parent.
Well, and the young girl in this is the very classic 80s young girl look. All the young girls had long brown hair and big brown eyes.
Yeah, she's a babe.
Yeah.
This movie was introducing Ashley Lawrence.
Yeah.
This is one of those and introducing.
I don't know what else she did, but she's such a familiar face.
I think she does like horror cons and stuff like
Okay.
that. So she's kind of known for that. And she's also in the sequel as well.
Oh, yes, she is.
I believe so,
She
yeah.
is. She is. It kind of centers around her. She goes in a mental institution after this movie. Do you wonder why?
But this
She meets the Cenobites.
But the Cenobites, the movie that introduces them on film.
Yes.
They're more of a means to an end. They're not the main core of the story. They're not the full meat. The Cenobites are, Frank has a desire to take pleasure and pain to the next level. This guy's really into some dark shit.
Yeah.
A stereotypical Asian man in an 80s movie. You can have this, what do you call the box? The hell box?
No, it has.
I've always wanted to get this prop. I've always wanted to give you this box as a prop.
I want it. I would love it. I know this and I can't think of it, so I've got to look it up. But
it's got to do things. I don't want it to just be a cube.
Oh no, totally.
But
I would love to have a copy of this box.
But he takes this box in an unnamed Asian country, and the guy's like, "It was always yours." After he walks away, and this is Frank.
And Frank is a very like dirty, sweaty guy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people are sweaty in this movie.
You got to. There's a lot of lust going on. A lot of pleasure.
Frank
pain.
is very like animalistic.
You think
But
he
here's
shoved the
thing.
box up his ass? It was probably cut out of the original.
If he did, yeah. If he did, they didn't show it.
Mm.
I don't know if there's a dildo configuration.
There's one shape that seemed pretty close.
But the thing that people never understand about the box and the Cenobites, and yes, you're right, they're not the center of the story, but the thing that's so intriguing about the Cenobites is that none of this would have happened without them. You know, they are the gods of this world.
Explorers in the further regions of experience. Demons to some, angels to others.
I love that line so much. I'm like pretty obsessed with them. I think they're so fascinating. I could look at them all day.
The one with the circular glasses.
You know my favorite one?
Which one? The
Is
lady?
The teeth.
The teeth, yeah.
Yeah.
The guy with the circular glasses, and look, I'm talking about people who are watching this show or listening to this podcast. But there's something about the circular sunglasses that seem a little.
Isn't that the man that looks like a slug?
Yeah.
Or a poo? Okay.
Yeah. when you see dudes
Yeah.
wearing the circle sunglasses,
Yeah.
I hate those sunglasses.
I do too.
They're like weird.
Yeah.
They're the goofiest looking sunglasses. You look almost like you look like you're LARPing Vampire the Masquerade when you wear them.
Yes.
For one.
What if they're LARPing a Cenobite?
They could be LARPing a Cenobite.
That's better.
You better have some cool fucking makeup on if you're going to LARP a Cenobite.
Yeah.
Okay?
I do like the girl too. I like them all for different reasons.
Mm-hmm. From the gates of wherever and like torturing your
or
cock.
if you're into like hook hanging and stuff.
Flesh hooking and
yeah,
shit.
flesh hooking. 1,000.
Well, I haven't heard about that since I was like in a bar in the early 2000s.
There's a drag performer that I follow who recently did a piece where she put hooks all around her face and hooked them to a picture frame. And so it was like pulling her face out. Ooh, it's so creepy.
You know, I'm down to watch some Hellraiser, but I don't know if I'm going to go to like flesh hooking shows.
I don't know. I'd watch it.
Look, you can go.
I'm not going to participate.
I'm not going with you. That's all I'm saying.
It's only one step past someone putting a 9-inch nail up their nose.
So Frank opens the box and the demons come, but the way it flashes, it's like suddenly he's on this like spinning post. And it's
And
got
his body
parts of his
parts.
body hanging from hooks all over it.
He's being
and they're
ripped apart.
and they're putting like his face together. It's been dismembered. And you really want the face to talk
I
to you.
did.
but
I
like,
so wanted them to talk, the face to talk to the
So it
Cenobite.
seems like Frank just is being tortured continuously. And so that's when his brother and his wife
Juliet.
move into the house.
Mm-hmm.
They're moving a bed terribly. Yeah. They're really bad at moving this fucking bed.
And they have two presumable movers with them.
And
they're not their friends.
And the husband rips his hand on a nail. Like, the way it looks, like, every little blood bit is, like, so over the top, it feels. And then, so he gets up and he goes into that room. Why does he go into the room?
Because that's where Julia is.
Right.
I think she just felt him in there.
Here.
Is it deep?
No, I haven't looked. You know me and blood. I'm gonna faint.
You're not going to faint.
Shit.
Look, let me see.
Shit.
Oh, it's going to need stitches.
I'm gonna throw up.
You're not going to throw up.
I'm gonna pass out.
He's bleeding all over the ground.
Meanwhile, she's been fantasizing about this manly man, like, having sex with her on the day of her wedding.
Yeah.
And then here comes her husband. I can't stand my own blood.
But they leave this room and you see the blood soaking into the wood. And it's like the Telltale Heart in Edgar Allan Poe. Turns out like some of his organs are under there and it's sucking up the blood to where it's like feeding him to where he's starting to regain flesh and it's helping him to escape. The movie's called Hellraiser, but the Cenobites make it seem like it's not exactly hell as you know it, and it could be, depending on who you are, paradise. So blood starts soaking through, and we see this scene where he's coming together and flop, and it's like disgusting but brilliant. And we see his hand coming out, and like the neck forming into the skull, and it's just like, and all this bile like forming together.
The part where his like brain has grown separate and his spinal cord comes out and like into it, it's so fucking cool.
And it's awesome.
And it's all 1000% practical.
Yeah, that's what's so
That's
great
the most
about
amazing part about this movie.
It's a very inventive movie in terms of the effects and what they do. Very creative. And Clive Barker is such a fascinating guy to... Did you know that he was a male escort when he was younger?
I am not surprised.
I mean, if you look at pictures of him, the fashion that he puts out there, he's pretty much a gay man now, but he said he had relationships with older women when he was younger, like a male escort would.
Yeah.
But also he probably hooked up with a lot of men, but now he's like formally gay.
Yeah.
But when you see images of him over the years,
Sexuality is a spectrum.
he's the most, that's true, he's probably bi mostly, but it's all men now,
Yeah.
When frosted tips were all the rage, you better believe Clive Barker had some frosted tips.
Clive Barker's wearing jewelry.
Yeah, he's flashy.
He's flashy. He's got like slicked back hair.
Yeah.
Or tips. He's definitely like...
The first horror nerd writer to
Yeah.
get ass and pussy before he hit it big. And there's one where he's wearing these pants, like these wide leg pants with designs all over them. It's like, I'm really fascinated by Clive Barker.
I am too.
It would be really interesting to meet him. He seems so different from us.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we just seeing how his mind works in his creative process, he is just also so interesting to us.
Yeah, and even just, I did not know that he was a male escort, but I have wondered with the story of Hellraiser, the Hellbound Heart, like, did this come out of him trying a bunch of fucking things and going like, what else could there be? What else would there be? What would happen if I could like open a portal to like, beyond anything I can imagine in this world? Because they think they're going to just be in like ecstasy, but they misunderstand.
I thought I'd gone to the limits. I hadn't. The Cenobites gave me an experience beyond the limits. Pain and pleasure. Indivisible.
Because what the Cenobites are offering you is not ecstasy, it's experience.
Was there any experience with any Johns or Janes that kind of gave him some ideas?
I don't know.
As to what this... Yeah, it's interesting. Like, just conceiving this specific thing. They're not just demons. They exist to merge the gaps between pleasure and pain. That's what they're all about. And, like, some people, when they meet a Cenobite, are like, yes, right? And that's what Frank was going for. But, of course, Frank escapes through the blood, and he forms. And Julia,
I think it's Julia.
She goes up there, and she sees this, like, body crawling.
And he's like, don't look at me. And she can't help it. But eventually she's like, who are you?
It's Frank.
You? And when they got together before, she had said to him, I will do anything for you.
Yeah.
And so he made good on that. He was like, you got to go kill some people and fucking bring me some blood.
And it takes her some gumption to get up to it. She's not naturally a killer, but she will do anything for this man.
She wants Frank.
It's a love story.
It is.
And that's what's so great about this.
The only time that she is alive is when she is with Frank.
I'm going to live and you're going to help me, yes?
Yes. They'll never find us. Not in the whole wide world.
So Julia?
I think it's Julia.
She, Clare Higgins, she starts picking up men and bringing them. And, like, you see, it's so creepy. He's crawling at first, so she's, like, hitting dudes in the head with the hammer, crawling up and grabbing the corpse and, like, sucking it dry.
And, like, he, like, sticks his fingers into their neck.
Yeah, and it, like, absorbs them. So he does this enough to where, and it seems like he's pretty much back to normal, except he doesn't have skin. And also, Ashley Laurence, doesn't she find the box at some point? They have the box. That's one part that's kind of weird, because he has the box and then he gets tortured up, but I guess they just find the box in the house, right?
Yeah, I actually am struggling to remember how she finds the box, but she does.
But she's the one that actually...
But the box finds who it's supposed to find.
But she summons it, right?
The box. You opened it. We came.
It's just a puzzle box!
Oh no. It is a means to summon us. We can't. Not alone. You solved the box. We came. Now you must come with us. Taste our pleasures.
Please, go away and leave me alone.
Oh, no tears, please. It's a waste of good suffering.
She ends up in the hospital.
Yeah, she does.
And
because they think she's crazy or
the
something.
box was, like, somehow found with her. And so the doctor was like, well, does this remind you of anything?
And she knows Frank is there, and
she knows Frank is there, and he's a creepo.
I mean, he's has no skin.
Has no skin. She opens the box in the hospital, and she meets this, like, scorpion.
It's like a
piranha man.
It's like a gate opens around them. Like, it changes the reality to where they... and the piranha man is like this thing, like...
That happens a lot more in the second one, too.
87 effects, you know, the things like crawling along the walls.
It's fucking creepy, though.
And then she encounters the Cenobites, and she kind of makes a rough agreement. They're like, you know, your boy Frank escaped. And they're like, no, he didn't.
And she's like, I can take
yes,
you.
they are. It's like, he did not. And then, but sure enough, they find out that Frank escaped. So they're like, okay, they want him back. He can't just leave. They can't go back alone. It's
but
like
they
a weird
also
rule
don't promise her. Like,
No.
she tries to say, if I take you to him, you can have him instead of me. And they're like, you take us to him and then we'll decide.
Yeah. And she sees the realm too, like, or at least a part of it. And,
yeah.
But while she's gone, finally, Clare Higgins sacrifices her husband to Frank. And that's when the actor, Frank is played by Sean Chapman, but Andrew Robinson plays the husband and his brother Larry. But when,
Larry.
But when Frank they kill Larry off screen and they put his skin on, and that's when, like, Andrew Robinson's as an actor really kind of comes to life. He really is better than the actor who was playing Frank.
He is.
Once he gets the skin on him, then he just looks like he's having a blast just being this like evil creep because he has his voice, the voice of the brother now, and he's Frank wearing the brother's skin.
That guy did an amazing job.
Yeah.
Because he
turned it up.
He was like the mousiest sort of nice guy.
He was a nice husband.
Yeah, he was a nice guy. And she didn't want him to die. But then he was going to figure it out.
And that's when Ashley Lawrence's character, she comes home. And doesn't seem obvious. Like he's got like the wounds around the edges.
It's like there's goo where they had to push his face up and like stick the hair on or something. He's got like his ears don't look quite right.
Yeah.
And at one point he like adjusts his eye skin. It's really cool.
But then of course the Cenobites start to reappear. And well, they don't reappear at first. We see hooks like going out and this is one of the coolest parts of the whole movie. And they start hooking Frank, and they're like attaching to his face, and it looks so fucking gross. And then he goes,
Jesus wept.
rips them apart, and he goes back to being dismembered and tortured for all eternity. And then, of course, that's when the Cenobites are like, cool, well, we got him back. Now we want to get this little 80s hottie. And she's going in and out of the realms, escaping the critters, and she's fucking with the box. And they're like, no. And then you got these flashing 80s, special effects.
That's the worst part of it,
is
the flashes that come out and like take them away. But every configuration that she did, it was like she was undoing the box. And so every time that she did a different configuration, one of them went away.
Yeah. That part beyond the part where we see Frank get dismembered by the hooks, like that would have been the perfect ending right at that point.
It would have been.
But of course she's got to do something about the Cenobites trying to get away from him.
I don't know. I think it could have ended with "Now we want you."
Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, that would have been great, right?
Yeah.
And then you get into Hellbound and have her like have to run. Yeah. Totally.
But instead, she burns the house down and it burns up in like a minute.
And there's this like homeless man who eats crickets at the pet store she works at, and he keeps showing up over and over again. And at the end, she throws the box into the fire, and then the man comes up, and again some 80s effects, and he sticks his hands in and he pulls out and he's burning, and then as best as it can show, he turns into a winged demon and he flies off.
Like a skeleton-y winged demon.
Yeah, that guy was a demon the whole time, and he had to get that box so that the next person that we see
at the end
is also getting the box.
So the demon took the box back to the same man, same Asian man.
For the next person who is meant to, Hellraiser.
Yeah, that was Hellraiser.
This movie's a lot of fun. Creepy and gross in such a great way. And the core, and when Clare Higgins, she loves Frank, but there's at one point where Frank wearing Ashley Lawrence.
Oh, Claire.
Yeah. Where she's.
Oh, that's her real name.
Clare Higgins is her real name. Julie's real name.
Okay.
Where Frank is going to go stab Ashley Lawrence. And Ashley like moves, and he accidentally stabs Claire, but like he doesn't care. He's like, "Oh, I stabbed you instead, Clare Higgins," and she's like so betrayed.
And she goes, "Not me!" And then he sucks her life out.
And she also ends up on a bed holding the box at some point with her skin off her face.
Yeah,
which you don't even see how that happened.
So presumably she's dead, but she comes back.
Did you feel bad for? Julia.
I did. I felt bad for her when he killed her because they're supposed to be in love.
Like, yeah, they're psychopaths and they've killed some people, but like
he turned on her at the end after she did everything for him.
Frank, she literally brought you back from hell.
Yes.
This is your ride or die. For her. And that her Julia is played by Clare Higgins. I felt like she really made this movie. Like, she's the one that makes this movie feel different, feel special. I understand from here forth, while you want to concentrate on the Cenobites and what they're doing, But
Yeah.
the reason that this movie is special is because of that passion.
Yeah.
And it never, even in other horror movies, I'm trying to even wonder what even comes close to that. That's what makes this feel so different from all the other horror movies, and why I feel like, though it's far from perfect from, well, you know, what are the ones in the major zeitgeist, your Shinings, your Exorcist, these are all good movies, but this one has its own place. And while I don't think it's maybe as executed as brilliantly as maybe The Shining, there's enough cool shit on here, and the story is so unique enough that I really do think that the first Hellraiser deserves to be in the broader zeitgeist of, like, the standard of, like, these are some great, all-time great horror movies.
Absolutely.
And this movie definitely has its fans, like, no doubt about it. A vocal fan base, and we're one of them. And that's why I'm going to give it, just for pure story and creativity and awesome effects, I think it overcomes the aspects of it that I think are imperfect technically, but still, like, it's so fun to sit through this movie. I'm going to give it a 4.25. I just like it like that.
I'm giving it a 4.5.
Cool. So that's an 8.
I love this movie.
We do. 8.75. Our rating is higher than a lot of other ratings for this movie, for sure. We go a little higher on Hellraiser, so.
Obviously I go a little higher on horror in general, but Hellraiser.
This is one of our favorites. It really is.
Yeah.
We get a lot out of this movie. We get a lot of mileage out of this movie.
Hell yeah.
Look. Clive Burton.
Because you had Tim Burton.
Yeah, my bad. Clive Barker.
I
wonder if he's related to Travis Barker from Blink-182. I don't know.
Maybe Travis is his nephew.
I don't know. I'm tired. We put together a canopy tonight. I'm just tired and sweaty.
We sure did. Me too.
All right. Check the show notes for links and other places to find us. What do you think of Hellraiser? Rank in the comments, if you've seen all the Hellraiser, your best to the worst. How bad are some of these sequels? I don't even remember most of them, but they are not very well regarded at all. Like and subscribe, and there will be more tomorrow. Come on back. Okay? Alright? Damn.
Death to all traitors.